Hi, grade 6s and 7s. I just wanted to offer you guys a resource for kind of our religion class today. So this is not an assignment. This is completely optional, but I did just want to share it with you so you have the opportunity to use it if you would like. This last couple of weeks, I was listening to a podcast called The Place We Find Ourselves by Adam Young, and he was talking about the Psalms. And during this time, I've actually been kind of drawn to the Psalms as I'm doing my daily readings. And one of the things that he mentioned is that the Psalms are for all of those big emotions that we're feeling and we just kind of don't know what to do with. Most of the Psalms, it kind of feels like they've got all these big emotions and they're almost on the edge, like they're just trying to figure out how to grapple and wrestle with all of this. And this is a time of huge, massive, big emotions. And some of those emotions might be connected to the fact that we are in a global pandemic and you don't get to go and visit with your friends the way that you used to. You don't get to come to school every day and connect with people. And we don't know what that's going to look like in the future. We don't know how long this is going to be. But you might also have really big emotions and feelings that aren't connected to that right now. This hasn't stopped other things from happening in our lives. There might be other things that are causing confusion or hurt, or we're frustrated, or we're angry, or we're really sad. There can be so many things that are still happening. So when I was listening to Adam Young's podcast, he was going through different parts that are in lots of Psalms. Not necessarily every Psalm, but kind of 4 key parts that tend to be in most Psalms. And the reason he went through them was to give people an opportunity to write and pray their own Psalms. So this was actually something that I've been looking at this last week. So I just wanted to share that with you. So I'll quickly go over what the 4 kind of key components are. And then I'll also, on your Google Classroom material for this activity, I'll also put up a copy of his resources from his website, Adam Young Counseling, just so that you can have an actual sheet of something available, but all the credit goes to him. I'm just passing this along to you guys. So the first part of a psalm that he talks about, and sorry, I'm just going to keep opening my iPad so I can reference it and make sure I follow along, is intimate address. So kind of a way of addressing God kind of by name that's unique to you, right? So there might be little names that you have for your parents or for your siblings, or little nicknames, right? And so it could be something like that. And with God, it can also just be as simple as like, Lord, my God, right? You are mine, my God, my beloved, the one in whom I put my trust, Lord, the God of my rescue, right? And it can have like, Lord, the God of my rescue. Maybe you're going to be asking for rescuing in this psalm, right? So the first part is intimate address. So actually engaging and like, how are you going to address God? The second part is complaint. Now, this might feel a little bit strange, or it might feel really liberating, but this is where you basically get to say, okay, here's my problem, right? This is how I'm feeling. This is what's going wrong. And actually, Adam Young says in his podcast episode, he's like, you can actually even overstate it. Not to be afraid. If you feel like you're talking as if you're angry with God, he can handle it. He knows what you're feeling and he's okay with you expressing that. But it's okay to overstate it and be a little bit dramatic, right? But this is where you're saying, this is what's wrong. This is what is bothering me. And to be able to kind of name those things. The language you use is up to you, right? So you could have it sound kind of poetic, or it could just be you're getting it out and onto the page. The third part is petition, which is, the other word he uses for this is demand, right? What do you want God to do for you? What are you asking? You've told him your complaint. You've told him what's wrong. And now what do you need from him? Right? So what are you looking for? Do you want, sometimes it could be an action word, right? Like, do you want, like, turn back to me, rescue me, come, like, any of these words that are kind of, what do you need him to do? Protect me, stand guard. What would you like him to do? And then the final part, he refers to in his worksheet as words of reorientation. And in his podcast, he also talked about it being almost like God's response or God's action. So I found when I was writing my psalm, I had a little hint of this in there, but it wasn't fully there yet. And I don't think it will be for a little while. Like, it's okay if I'm praying this psalm for the next few months and I'm only getting my ending later, right? This is a process and a journey that I'm taking with God. But sometimes you can almost say what you want before it's happened. Like, you can thank God for things that haven't happened yet, right? And there are some like, but I trust in your unfailing love. My heart exults in your rescue, is from Psalm 13. And they're not necessarily saying that they've been rescued yet, but they're saying like, I'm trusting that will happen. And you might not be there. That's okay. You don't have to include this part, but if you would, like I found when I actually was walking while I was doing this, and I'd stop and pull out my phone and I'd write the next few lines and I'd keep going, and then I'd write some more, and then I sat down afterwards. But as I was walking and I was praying, I'd sometimes get little lines that would come into my head that felt like God was trying to answer a little bit, and it wasn't the full thing yet, but just a little hint. So you might find that too, but it can be kind of how God is responding or acting, or you're thanking him in advance. You're trusting, like, I trust that this is what you're going to do. Okay. So those are kind of the 4 parts. So intimate address, complaint, petition or demand, and then like words of reorientation, like coming back, or like God's action or response to your psalm. So, like I said, Adam Young's worksheets will be on Google Classroom, so you can take a look through them. You can completely ignore this, or you might be going, you know what, I've got really big feelings right now. This sounds like an okay way to work it out. Let's just try it. And just go one little bit at a time, okay? If you want to share them with me, you're more than welcome to, but that is absolutely not a requirement. That's totally fine for this to just be yours, because this could be quite personal. Know that I am praying for you. I love all of you guys. If you have any specific prayer requests, feel free to send me a little message and I will keep them with me as I'm going for my morning walks and having my prayer time. All right. Hopefully we get to see you soon. Bye.